Is there a survey that is in that chapter that they use?
There's not a specific survey. This is explaining how to create a survey.
That would be a great thing to have to give to the.
Well, there's there's sample examples throughout this chapter. It's a short chapter, Michael. It's only maybe 20 pages. It's not really long, but it's more about explain. Instead of giving you a fish, it's teaching you how to fish.
Mm-hmm.
And every survey is so different. So for example, I'm going to be creating a survey that we give to all of our students who go through the class. As a real estate agent, which one of these is most important to you as a charitable real estate specialist? Having a designation no one else has, attracting high net worth people, helping one nonprofit, being the go-to for all nonprofits in my area. In other words, it's going to be all of the above, right? So we'll do a survey for people who've taken the class. We'll do a survey for realtors, top producing realtors, asking them questions about why they would want to become a charitable real estate specialist to bring them in. We'll be creating a survey for you guys to use in your database. So every one of you has 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 past clients to be able to send them a survey asking them, hey, if you, and I'll share you some of the sample questions that I've come up with. So we'll create a survey for you guys to send to your database, and we will create a generic example survey that nonprofits can use. As a matter of fact, Bruce has also introduced me to Gordon Smith from the National Jewish Health Association. They have like 300,000 followers. They have 85,000 that, however they do, they're a big enough organization that they can do all kinds of research. 85,000 of those own a home. 45,000 of those own multiple properties. And so they sent a letter to 5,000 of the 45,000 that didn't get any results. So I talked to Gordon last week and I said, what about sending him a survey? Because he worships at the feet of Dr. Russell James too. And so he's all excited about it. Now I've got his ear about how to do a survey, and I'm coaching and counseling the guy that's been doing fundraising and estate planning and plan giving for 25 years around these surveys. So we are creating these sample ones. And
I think that's a brilliant thing for them. You know, we're going to be talking about these fundraising professionals, and the common thing you hear from some of these nonprofits is, well, we don't have people that ask us about real estate donations or something like that. And this is like, hey, ask them what their interest is and educate them and see what kind of response you get. And all of a sudden you get 5 people that say they want to learn about it. And all of a sudden you've opened the door for the nonprofits to wake up.
Exactly. Okay. So let's get back to the chapter, and then I'll show you some of the sample questions I've written, and I'm going to encourage you guys to get in and get dirty with me. I want you all to write at least one sample question with the answers while we're here so we can share with one another. If everybody on here wrote one good question, bam, we have a survey. Look at that, all right? Collaboration. Okay. So when we're doing the survey, he says we need to justify asking the questions, and we want to ask questions that connect the donor's identity. So connect the donor's identity, history, people, and values with the cause and the charity. You want to connect them. So here's some examples of this. You want to justify asking the questions by letting them know, hey, I need your help. Or, hey, I'm new at this. This is a new specialty for me. Hey, you know what? We have a problem. We at this nonprofit, we have a problem. Teen pregnancy is up. We want to ask you some questions in this survey. I'm just making suggestions. We have an idea. Hey, we hear at the National Jewish Health Organization have an idea. Instead of asking our donors for cash, we want to get your opinion about major gifts of assets. Other ways to justify is that you're just asking their advice, you're interested in their opinion, you're interested in their story. I've actually been speaking with Gordon about, what is a capital expense that we could talk about? For example, hey, we're building this new building. As a matter of fact, I asked him what was the most recent one. The most recent capital expense fundraiser they did was for $250 million for a building that they built. So we could do a survey with them. Hey, we have a problem. We need a new building. And the budget's $250 million. But the good news is we don't want any money from you. We just want your opinion. And then you ask questions about major gifts of assets, leading them down the road to the questions that we want them to answer. So we're going to justify why we're asking the questions with some reason for doing it. In your case, guys, let's think about you before we talk about your nonprofit. If you were to send a survey to your tribe of people, because every one of you has a property donor that you know that's in your cell phone. But we say to the nonprofits, well, you don't know if they donate property because you haven't asked them. But the fact is, isn't that the same thing for all of us? We don't know if any of the people we know would donate because we haven't asked them. So if we were to create a survey, think about just really simple, and it can go one of two ways. You could be saying something like, hey, I need your help, or hey, I can help you. Hey, I need your help. I've recently become the first and only charitable real estate specialist in Tennessee. This is a new niche that no one else in the marketplace is doing, and I'd love to get your opinion on some of these ideas. If you knew that the gifting of charitable real estate could provide these things for you, which would be most important? And then you line out 4, 5, 6 things that would all be beneficial to them. And maybe you ask them to put them in importance on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the most important, 5 being the least important. Please put these in order of what would be the most important to you. So it could be that you're saying, I need your help. It could be that you spin it around and go the Cami Baker way. Hey, I want to help you. I've recently become the charitable real estate specialist in this marketplace. And it's come to my attention that especially with the new presidency tax laws coming down the pike, you and your savvy property owner friends may need some help. So however you want to start it, you're justifying why you're asking the questions. As a matter of fact, let's stop on that for just a second. When I talk about this and you guys sending a survey to the people you know, let's open up for some suggestions and talk about how would you want to start it?
Have you heard? And then just go from there. Have you heard about?
Well, remember this. Great. Thank you for jumping in, Tamisa. Remember, this part is we're justifying. We're justifying why we're asking them the question. Okay. There's got to be a reason for it so that they will respond. You know, Lori Lane, for you, hey, I need your help. I am back in real estate for the first time in 8 years in San Diego. But the good news is I have a tool that no other realtor in this marketplace has. So we're justifying why we're asking the questions. And then we could also provide, so when it talks about victory, you want them to identify themselves. So Lori, for you, if you were to send this to a community of all military property owners, just for example, because we could get a demographic of any kind. As my fellow property owning military personnel. See, that's very specific. The people who receive that, who are property owner, military personnel, they say, that's me. These questions are for me. You know, Michael could say, you know, because of this specialty that I'm so blessed to have found, I would like to get your input as the members of the Catholic Church that I have belonged to for the last 20 years. Like he's calling them forward as the property owners who support this church that we all love so much. You know, as Beverly could say, you know, I want to get your opinion as the people who support Make-A-Wish Foundation. Or Beverly, you could say, you know, now that I am the first charitable real estate specialist in Tennessee, I would love to bring this blessing to you, my past clients, my generous heart-centered past clients who own property in this area and have nonprofits that you would love to see flourish and blossom. Something that speaks to them. They are your clients. They want to be seen as generous and supporting and helping the local nonprofits. So there's a reason for writing it and then calling them forth, speaking directly to them.
To answer your question, for most of my contacts, I think I would use the "I need your help" approach, because my experience has been, and I'm thinking back to the meetings we used to go to when we were in network marketing. I'm thinking about that a lot today when I was reading the survey. My experience has been that people respond better to "I need your help" because it makes them feel good about themselves and it puts them in a place where they can give you something. And if I say "I need your help" and I ask them to fill out a 7-question survey, I think that especially if they like me, which, you know, presumably they do, or I wouldn't be reaching out to them, you know, that I think I have a better chance of engagement and of them taking it seriously.
Yes, so I need your help to help me help our community, even taking it to that extreme. You're answering these next 7 questions will help me to provide the funds that our community has been needing for years without giving me any money. I'm not looking for any money from you. I just want these questions answered, kind of a thing. All right. And we'll go through this and we'll back up and go forward. So we're justifying. He talks about here, beware of adding a donation request in the survey. So you don't want to say something like, we need your advice. And oh, by the way, now that we have your advice, we also want your money. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, but he says it and it bears repeating. So we don't want to do the dirty exchange, right? By telling them we need their help, but then ask them for money. So connect with original identity. Questions can connect with donor's identity with the cause, the charity, or the project. This can start even before the first question. The reason for asking the questions can be because of the donor's identity. So this is getting into who they are for you. So for example, your insight is especially important because we need input from women. We need input from baby boomers. We need input from the people who care about our senior citizens. We need input from property owners in the Green Acres School District. Like whatever that is for you. We need input from the 2 family property owners in Brooklyn. Whoever it is that you're wanting to call forward. And when I was talking to Gordon Smith today, I gave him the example in this part about when I would teach a class on real estate if it was the 3 secrets real estate agents need to know to get listings in this market. If you add an extra word here and there, it helps people pre-qualify. 3 secrets women realtors need to know to make more money in this marketplace. 3 secrets seasoned real estate professionals need to know to make more money in this marketplace. 3 secrets brand new real estate agents need to know to make money in this marketplace. Notice how those 3, it's going to be the same seminar. It's exactly the same material. It's all the same for women, for seasoned agents, or for brand new agents. But just by putting that extra adjective in there, it makes you perk up. This is for women? That's me, right? So these questions are for property owners between the ages of 40 and 60, whatever your demographic is that you're sending to. So once again, your insight is especially important because we need input from those who have supported us in the past, but not in the last year. That's kind of specific. Or for you guys, your insight is especially important because we need input from clients I've done business with in the past, but not in the last year. I don't know. That calls people forward, right?
Mhm.
I highly recommend that you guys read through this whole thing. I'm just picking through it to kind of whet your appetite to want to kind of study this a little bit, because we are going to write these sample surveys, but giving you one fish is not going to be the right fish for every opportunity that you could be using one of these. He talks about, I've got these highlighted because they're important. He talks about using these kind of response options for some of these questions: highly important, somewhat important, slightly important, not important. He talks about not using direct no's if possible, kind of like, so for example, I wrote this survey question: how likely are you to learn about charitable gifts of real estate from a 15-minute webinar? Not at all likely, somewhat likely, very possible, definitely would attend. So if I were to send out a survey and someone were to answer anything but not at all likely, then I'd reach out to them and invite them to a 15-minute webinar. I thought this was really interesting, talking about these values, the things that we can learn from these surveys. Sometimes these value responses can be surprising. One charity focused on women's reproductive rights in the developing world. Leaders assumed the key value was women's rights. Survey results revealed something else. Many donors only cared about population control. I just find that to be a shocking result that you would hear about something like that. So, you know, we might think that people in our center of influence wouldn't donate real estate. And the shocking result might be that 28 people in your very own center of influence said highly likely to donate real estate. Imagine if that happened.
Mhm.
So he's talking about, like right here, which of the following have been important in your life? This is for some place like the Chesapeake Conservancy. They're trying to speak directly.
Is Cami frozen?
Looks like it.
That's the only way we can keep her quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good luck. I found, oh, are we back?
Mhm.
Cami, you're on mute.
Thank you, Michael. I got it. These questions asked about the donor's life. They connect it with the cause or the charity. This encourages support. Now, you all, if you're sending a survey to your people about charitable real estate and doing a little bit of survey, connect them with you. How long have we been friends? How long have you been a client of mine? 1 year or less, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, over 5 years. They're just questions that kind of get people in the habit of answering questions and us being able to lead them, which is what this one is, about 2, more than 2, less than 2. One approach is to group everything negative into a moderate response. Thus, the most negative answer might be probably not or unlikely. The definitely not is omitted in the first question. The lowest group is less than 2. The none is omitted. So he talks about different times when you don't want to use no. Talks about different ways of using a scale on a scale of 0 to 100 to answer questions with a number as opposed to a yes or a no. This is really interesting. Talks about when reading about causes, and projects, when rating the importance of causes, and projects. So in other words, what this is saying, when we are doing a survey and asking people's opinion, after the survey, when you've led them down the road of, what would you be more likely to if you were to want to support a nonprofit, would you be more likely to volunteer, donate cash, make a charitable gift of real estate? In other words, as you lead them down the trail, when you are asking them questions and giving them a chance to rate where they stand on something, ultimately you end up getting a bigger percentage of people who actually make that donation down the road. Towards the end of this is what I really want to share with you guys about the last part of the ask. Okay, this is what's interesting about predicting a gift. The immediate goal isn't to get the donor to make a gift. It's to get the donor to predict a gift. A prediction is still an opinion. The questions are still in the realm of opinion gathering, but asking for a prediction is surprisingly powerful. So, for example, once people predict they then change their future behavior. They change it to match their prediction. The result, asking for the prediction first increases pro-social behavior in experiments. This works with blood donations, volunteering, voting, recycling, donating real estate. I added that part. That's not Dr. James, but it's an example. So the question is, the question is, I don't see it now. The question is, if people like you, and that's another part of this, people like you, people like to be like other people like you are considering charitable gifts of real estate more and more, how likely are you to make charitable gift of real estate in the next 6 months? Not at all. Not at all likely, somewhat likely, definitely likely, probably likely. You know, you give them 4 or 5 of those. What he's saying is if you send this survey and you ask this question, if they answer anything other than not at all, somewhat likely, possibly, definitely likely, by the time you reach out to them a week later and have the conversation, or even a month or 6 months later, statistically, they're much more likely to actually make that donation of real estate because 6 months ago, they said that they were probably likely to do it. So in their mind, they didn't commit to it, but they predicted that they probably would. So statistically, they're more likely to do it. So as you can see, there's a lot in there to read and to kind of digest. I really just wanted you guys to understand these resources that we have our hands on, that I just got this chapter myself last week. I told Gordon today, I said, look, I am not an expert on survey writing. I just wrapped my head around it, but I'm like a dog with a bone. And now that we know about it, damn right, we're going to figure it out. But don't sit back and wait for us to do it for you. And we are going to have more and more of these sessions. So let's all support each other right now. And let's each of us write a question, whether it's from your perspective of a question you could ask your own center of influence. As a matter of fact, let's focus on that, because we can't really have integrity asking other people to do something that we haven't done. And as I say that, I'm going to send this to my email list too. I'm going to ask people, hey, which one of the following would be the most compelling reason for you to want to donate, excuse me, not donate, make a charitable gift? Words are important. We're not asking them to donate. We're asking them about charitable gifts of real estate. And we're not asking them to make the charitable gift. We're asking them how likely would they be, or which would be most compelling if they did. And then we give them a list of all the compelling reasons, because what we're ultimately doing is teaching. We're educating. We're informing. We're not asking anybody to do anything but to answer the questions. All right, who wants to play? Work with me on this, because I need your help too.
So if you just started out with some kind of question, like, hey, I have a question, a lot of people will say, oh, great. That's their immediate kind of response when you say, I have a question. Have you thought about, ever thought about the gifting, the charitable gifting of real estate?
Here's the problem with that, Debbie. The answer to that is no.
They don't even know what you're talking about.
They don't know what it is.
I guess your lead-in question, well, here's why I asked. I mean,
no, because, all right, so think about psychologically. In sales, and we're not doing sales, but in sales, you want people to, you say, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? Yes, I would. Right? We're trying to get people to say yes, 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 yes. So by the time we put the hand in, yes, right? Yes, yes, yes. So why would we start off with a question that we know is going to be answered no?
mm-hmm.
And that confuses them from the very beginning. No, I've never thought of that. Instead, if you say something like, so we started out by saying, hey, I need your help. I have this new designation. It's fascinating. And I'd just like to ask a few questions. Your answering these questions could potentially help me to fund The nonprofits in our community by the millions. Question number 1. Which one of the following reasons would resonate best with you when it comes to making a major gift of an asset? No capital gains tax, ability to get cash out of the donation, ability to give the donation to multiple nonprofits at a time. Like, I'm just grabbing things, but the different reasons why it would benefit that donor. So see, now we really have to think, and this is so good for all of us, because now we have to really think, what does benefit the donor? Instead of just watching a Cami video, why does it benefit the donor? And we can also send these surveys to our nonprofit friends for them. Hey, nonprofit friends, I need your help. I've recently become a charitable real estate specialist. And from what I understand, I can help your organization bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars without a fundraiser. If you answer these next 6 questions, I'll best know how to serve you. Which is the most important to you when it comes to receiving donations? I don't know, I'm just grabbing something. But so now let's think about what's important to them. The longevity of your mission, saving more children from human trafficking, covering your administrative costs, including your salary, being able to afford your next fundraiser. I don't know, I'm just grasping at stuff. That's why I need your help.
What about something like this? Tell me if I'm off base or not. What is your opinion about charitable what is your opinion about charitable real estate? A, don't know about it. B, want to learn more. C, I have donated and a big fan.
The problem with that, Beverly, and thank you for playing. Guys, this is just an experiment. Our life is just an experiment. So getting out and playing with me is so important. Thank you for that. Here's what we all know already. And it's really funny that you both have that same kind of a question. What we all know is they don't know about it. Why are you torturing them? Why are you trying to force them to know about something they don't know about? Look, these questions, and thank you for playing. You guys know I say that with love in my heart. So the questions that we're asking are to educate them. So think about that. Every question in the survey educates them. There is nothing in that question that leads them to ponder or learn or grow. All we're doing in either of those questions is reminding them of something they don't know.
Makes sense.
Well, for nonprofits, I mean, I know with folks that I've worked with, they are really covetous of keeping their program, keeping what they do, keeping, you know, we're doing well, we're getting a certain amount of money, our donators are donating, and we don't want to upset the apple cart or mess it up. But they want more donations, figure out more money. They want to figure out more ways to raise more money. And so I'm thinking about, you know, playing off that a little bit. They do want more ways to make more money.
Well, they do, but
I was
for
thinking
right now,
something between, you know, is getting new members most important to you, or a way to get 5 times more profits faster? I mean,
I want to take you all back to our own center of influence. I don't know why we all, including me, I don't know why we all avoid talking to the people that we know. So before we go and torture the nonprofit with trying to make them agree that they want money from us, why aren't we talking to our own center? I mean, Debbie, You and Tamisa are experts in the senior care industry. If anybody should be able to find people who want to donate real estate, it's the two of you. Your clients are at a place where they're getting rid of real estate, they're estate planning. Tamisa, I heard you say the other day, so often you meet people who don't have heirs, they don't know who they're going to leave it to. Ladies,
They don't like their heirs.
or they don't, guys,
I've got a couple. I've got one right now. He does not have heirs.
so let's all do each other a favor. There are 8 of us on this call. Let's all come up with one question each that we could put together and make one stinking survey that all of us could send to our clients.
I have a question though,
Yeah.
before we do that. Is it advisable, or would it be a good idea to maybe set up a series of surveys with your clients? Like, first of all, we have to let them know have this designation. So if we haven't already informed them, then it's, hey, let me tell you what's new in my world that I want to share with you, blah, blah, blah. Then it's, I need your help as I begin this path, and then ask your questions. And then it's maybe once a month in a newsletter, you have another 2 or 3 questions to survey, so that you're constantly building their education without them realizing that you're, leading them down the path of thinking donation of real estate, and thinking about it and talking about it to their friends or family or whatever. So is that something that would be advisable to kind of make a series of it, or just?
So the answer is yes, we should have a series, always keeping it top of mind, always reminding them this is new information for people. We're dropping the pebble in the pond so that it can ripple out. The beauty of this, guys, is we are not asking them to donate real estate right now. Go get your deed and give it to me now for my nonprofit. We're not doing that. We are educating them. So my question to you would be, why draw that out? Why tease or torture 2 questions here, 2 questions? Why not just let them know right now? So, hey, this is in an email. Hey, don't know if you've heard about it, but I am excited to be the first charitable real estate specialist in Arizona. And as I have this new designation, this is so new and exciting to me. I need your help. As my clients in a beautiful state full of generous, heart-centered people and lots of folks who have property that could benefit the community, I just have 7 questions that will help me as the charitable real estate specialist fund the nonprofits that I care about, and I know you do too. Let's get started. And the questions that we're asking are not leading them to, will you donate real estate today? In other words, we're not going in and raping and pillaging and taking advantage and selling and becoming a snake oil salesman at the end. They're questions that educate. So let's get started. Question number 1. Which one of the following benefits would be most important to you if you were to donate a piece of real estate? Bam, 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 bam. Or even before that. So even before that, racy, build some relationship with them. How long have you been a property owner? 5 years or less, 5 to 10 years, 10 to 15, 15 to 25. How old were you when you bought your first piece of investment property? 20 to 25, 25 to 35. In other words, there's a few questions in there maybe in the beginning just to kind of warm them up. And we're just playing with this, Tamisa. We're just talking about it. But if we warmed them up a little bit and then said some questions that now educate them. If you knew that making a donation of real estate could allow you to avoid capital gains tax, is that something you'd consider? Yes or no? Or yes, definitely, maybe depends on the circumstances. No, I'm not interested, something. So in other words, that question is educating them. And it's not saying to them, I'm setting an appointment to come cram this down your throat. It's not saying you're committing to donating your property right now. It's a survey. It's a survey that helps teach them. And somewhere in there, you could say, our charitable real estate division holds informational Q&A for savvy, sophisticated property owners like you. How likely are you to attend a 30-minute informational webinar? Not at all, somewhat, definitely.
That was actually going to be my question to contribute, is if they would be interested in a 15-minute or to 30-minute webinar to enlighten them to what this was all about. So that was going to be my question. Darn it, I got to come up with another one.
No, right. So go ahead and write it out in your own words and give me those different choices of answers.
Okay.
Because yours might be a little bit different than mine. We might say something like, I'm thinking about like the financial service people.
So from a pain point of view is where I would be looking. And I would say something like, with real estate at an all-time high, would you be interested in learning how to avoid the capital gains tax? You know, because they're, you know, are you thinking of locking in real estate at an all-time high? And has anybody told you about how to avoid the capital gains tax?
Has anyone told you how to avoid the capital gains tax is different than if you knew making a gift of real estate would relieve you of the capital gains tax. Is that something that would interest you? I don't know.
No, I get it. Yeah, you got to melt the two together. It didn't bring in the charitable aspect idea into the concept.
I'm trying to stay away from yes or no.
Mhm.
I've got the question. What about the question, how do you donate to your favorite charity?
Yeah, beautiful. Of
Okay.
these, so we can have fill in the blank, but we want people to respond. And if they have to fill it in, they're not going to do it.
Right, I
This is-
haven't got the other
Yeah.
bullet points, but yeah, what about
So
that?
so it would be something like, of these choices, which is your favorite way to contribute to your favorite charity? Volunteering time, volunteering my professional services, donating cash, donating real estate, or donating anything other than cash. In other words, you got to keep that one. You can't ask them if that's something that they normally do, because we know that it's not.
Right, right, okay.
They may not even know what it is.
Well, that's why I
Exactly.
thought the question, then you have that question, and then down below it, it's giving them other options that they, like you said, they may not even known about those, and then they'll ask, what is that?
Well, we don't want them to just ask. We want in this survey to give them just enough of it. Well, I mean, they could ask. It'd be great for them to ask, but it's about asking questions. And to Tamisa's point, so yeah, you know, you do a survey, 6 or 7 questions, and here's what the survey does. Let's say you send this to 500 of your people, and let's say 200 of them respond. And let's say out of the 200 responses, 28 of them under the question that says, how, knowing what you know now, about the charitable gifting of real estate, because now you've just educated them. Knowing what you know now about the charitable gifting of real estate, how likely would you be in the next 12 months to consider a charitable gift of real estate? Not at all likely, somewhat likely, possibility, definitely, absolutely. If they check anything other than not at all, then they're telling you, yeah, you know what, you've just informed me enough. I'd consider that. And if you had 28 people who said anything other than fuck off, then yeah, and guys, the beautiful thing about it, we're not selling. You can't sell somebody on donating their property. You can't do it. Bruce will use the words convince. You can't convince. We are educating and informing. If you have 28 people who say, yeah, I'd consider that in the next year, your job, thank you, Michael Jones, your job is to simply get on the phone with them and say, hey, you know, now that you've answered this survey, I really appreciate that. You know, I actually am kind of an advisor in this whole thing now. And if you have property that you think you might want to donate, let's sit down and have lunch and talk about it. We've got a year to figure it out, but I can at least answer your question.
So the question I came up with, which I thought would be nice towards the beginning of the survey, was if capital gains tax were not an issue, how likely would you be to liquidate a property you currently own? And I put like not at all likely, somewhat likely, very likely, or definitely. And I came up with that because I'm thinking that there are a lot of people, especially with the new administration's proposed changes, that would love to get out from under that apartment building or even the second home or whatever it is, and they don't want to because they already have a high tax bill and they don't want to get killed on next year's taxes.
Well, they better get with it, because when those laws change, it's going to be worse.
Well, here's the thing. Tammy said, thank you for saying that, because we need to get with it.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It is our job. It's kind of, so when I was an alcoholic and drinking myself blind, when I didn't know any better, I kind of had an excuse. I didn't know there was a better way. It's a disease. I'm addicted. I had no idea. But once I went to an AA meeting and once I met people who had been as bad as me and worse and saw that they could fix themselves and knew that there was a way to fix myself, well, now I don't have an excuse anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the kind of the same thing here. All those poor bastards out there don't know anything about this. They kind of have an excuse for their ignorance, but we know about it. We know that there's a better way for them.
Well, you know, our comfort zones are decorated with all the accessories and all the beautiful things that are called excuses that we adore and admire and dust and clean off and repurpose, because we don't get rid of those excuses. And right now there's a sense of urgency for us to eliminate those excuses and get out of our comfort zone, because we can really help a lot of people.
So I want to thank you for being honest about that. And I want all of us, there's 7 of us on this call right now, 6 outside of me. And I don't have any fear about this. I really have no fear about it, but I'd really like to hear what is the excuse? Are we afraid that people are going to ask us a question we can't answer? Are we afraid that this isn't real and that we're going to bring it out to everybody and we're going to find out it's a fraud? Are we afraid that, what is the fear that everybody has about this? Because if we don't talk about it, we're never going to get past. We got to take that excuse off the shelf, polish it up and smash it and be done with it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I told like 4 or 5 people today, and you tell me what I did wrong. Because I'm sure I didn't say it right. I don't say it as eloquently as you do. But I'm gonna try to remember what I said, because of course I get excited when I start talking about it, and then that's when stuff just doesn't come out correctly, because it's not I'm learning this. So I said, I said, I think I said I have partnered with a 501(c) out of New Mexico that purchases properties, and then
You're
turn
already,
them.
you're already confusing me.
Okay, I think that's what I
So,
said. Okay.
well, so here's the thing though, Beverly. Thank you. Thank you for playing. Because look, guys, if you can talk this through with me right now, you can bring some stinking checks to your favorite nonprofits and be celebrated and be seen on the news in the next 2 months, fucking giving them a check. Let's just do this thing. So who are you talking to? Because I need the context.
I was talking to three board members of the Grace Ministries. Grace Place
Okay.
Ministries.
Did you know them? Do you know them personally at
Yes.
all?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, one of them I just met. The other two, yes, I know them very well.
What is their mission? Why do they have that nonprofit? Why do they care?
Because they want to help these women who are homeless, and to help them get a new life.
Okay. So I'm going to pretend you're one of them. Okay.
Okay.
Beverly,
Yes.
there are stories after stories of nonprofits just like yours that are saving women's lives every day without fundraisers, like checks in the 6 digits that are coming into these nonprofits.
Really? How's that happen?
And
There you go.
go.
I shared a story and I shut up. And I can't tell you how painful that was to sit there in silence with all of you staring at me. But I did it to prove a point, because you finally said, really, how does that work?
Yes. Okay.
And you would have said it sooner if you hadn't been waiting for me to keep rambling like I always do.
Okay.
But share a story and let them ask you about it. The reason I said you lost me, you said, I partnered with a 501(c)(3) out of New Mexico. All of that was your first 7 seconds to get somebody's attention.
Mhm.
What in that is important to me? Who the fuck do I care about a 501(c)(3) in New Mexico?
Well, they were excited after I told them the rest.
You'd also be surprised, Beverly, how many people don't know what 501(c)(3) even means.
True that.
Well, all of these people did, because I know that but
True.
yes, you're absolutely right. So
My-
I have to get a meeting with the director. So I just need to get my script down better.
Well, and guys, look, don't think about it as a script. You know, you're sharing a story.
Yeah,
Probably you've been to the class a couple, 3 times now.
I know.
So tell me, Beverly, right now, in the next 60 seconds, the brief overview of one of the stories.
There was a lady that owned a cabin, and it was a ski cabin that her and her family enjoyed for many, many years. The lady was getting elderly. Her family did not want the cabin, so she wanted to get rid of it. She called I'm gonna say the MS Society to give them said she had a cabin she wanted to rent. They said, hold on a minute, I'll get with my real estate department, and we will get back with you. Which in turn, we turned them over to Realty Gift Fund. They bought the property, sold it, and MS got a check for $45,000.
Okay, so you started out really good, but then you got into some detail there.
Got nervous. Yeah.
Stop trying to explain how it works.
Okay.
Nobody knows who Realty Gift Fund is. Nobody cares that Realty Gift Fund bought it.
Okay.
I love that you were saying, hey, there was this woman, she had a ski cabin. She didn't use it anymore. She donated it, and a nonprofit just like yours got a check for $45,000.
I try to explain too much. Right. Yeah.
I have the same problem, Beverly. When you know Cami for 15 years, that problem tends to go away because she keeps yelling at you until you get it right.
Yeah, that's my excuse too, Beverly. I vomit too much. And even when, like last week, I talked to Cami and we did a little role play about with somebody I wanted to talk to, and it was just short, sweet, to the point. I've yet to talk to them because they actually went out of town, but every time I think about it and replay it in my head, it sounds great. And then I start vocalizing it just to practice and I'm vomiting. So that's my excuse. I'm loaded with vomit.
I'm not the only one.
I've also found that a lot of times people just can't handle too much information. I mean,
They can't.
I know, I know a few years ago, I had a very difficult listing that I had gotten from calling a FISBO who had been expired. And I got a deal in place right away. And at one point I called the seller just to tell him something that was going on. It was, you know, a minute detail. And he went off the charts crazy. I mean, the man was having a nervous breakdown on the phone. And, you know, we resolved it later and everybody calmed down. But I said, you know, if I would have just kept my mouth shut and not felt the need to tell him every little thing, none of this would have happened because it wasn't anything he needed to know about. It was something I was handling. But I thought, well, more information is better. Not always.
It really isn't. And guys, just say that story. And frankly, Beverly, I would shorten it down even to this. There was this woman who really cared about her nonprofit. And because of that, that nonprofit got a check for $45,000 without a fundraiser.
Wow.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you say ski chalet donated, we know how great this is, but people either A, have never heard anything about it, or B, have ignorant misconceptions that they want to share with you. So let's just help them get out of their way by us getting out of our own way. And look, you know, we talked a couple of weeks ago or a month ago about if you go to the Realty Gift Fund website, I'm using Girl Scouts just as an example. There are churches on there. There are radio stations on there. There are universities on there. University. Does anyone here have a university within 10 miles of them? If you really have got to reach out to nonprofits to talk to them, then reach out to the universities. Send them an email. Make one email and send it to 50 universities in your area. Just like the one that I shared with you guys before. Hey, our group, I think at the top I had as a title, there's a check for $550,000 with your name on it. Get their attention, get them to open it. I represent a group called Realty Gift Fund. If you go to this website, link included, you'll see a university just like yours and 50 other nonprofits who have received money from this specialized nonprofit to the tune of 6 digits. We want to do the same thing for your university. I am the local contact and soon to be your best friend. Let's talk.
And who do you send that to? What department, what individual, what position?
I would send it to the, and I'm just going to pull some out of thin air to me. So business development, marketing, philanthropy, alumni, the people that keep up with the alumni, the fundraisers, obviously. Like I would pick 6 or 8 or 10 and send it because one of them is going to see it. I would do the same thing for churches. I would do the same thing for, you know, I say Girl Scouts because it would be real easy. I'd have to go back and read. I wrote was pretty good. Dear Girl Scouts, we have given you a check already. See here, and you can go right to Realty Gift Fund and see Girl Scouts on their list. You'll see on this list, Girl Scouts is posted. Because we have already given your organization a check before, I personally am the local representative for you here in Wisconsin, and I would love to help you get checks to help the Girl Scouts in our area. Blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about it. So on Tuesdays, guys, and not this week because I'm going to be in the Keys. I have a really hot new boyfriend, Michael. Wait till you see this one.
When you had the date with or somebody new?
Yes. Oh, he's so yummy. He's so yummy. He's British too. He has a really cool accent. He's trying to call me since I've been on here, but he's going to go with me down to the Keys for a few days. So not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. we're doing role play. So what we're doing right now, let's get on and role play. Let's role play what these conversations look like. Not role plays to handle objections or to convince or to sell, but to just talk to people about the stories. And I love that that's what we've been doing tonight. You guys are jumping right in there. You're being honest with me, Beverly. You know, 501c3 from New Mexico. Oh, that's the problem.
No, it's
But look, Lori's done it. Rhonda's done it. Michael's done it. Tamisa's done it. And there's somebody else in here that doesn't have their video on. Debbie's still with us. We've all done it. I've verbally vomited on thousands of people about all kinds of shit. But that's how we learn to talk to them. But if we come on and role play, see, now you can start thinking it through. Okay, what can I say to this person? What's in it for them? What's in it for them? What's in it for them? What do they need to hear? What does this person need to hear? What do they need to hear to ask me to tell them more? What do they need to hear from me so that they ask me to tell them more? And when they ask me to tell them more, what's the smallest amount I can say to get them on a call with Cami or Bruce or to one of the Q&As? Guys, every one of you can bring 2 guests to the certification class the 3rd Tuesday of the month. It's a $200 value per person. Give them the gift. All right, I got to bounce. I got a hot date, but I love you. I love you guys so much. We have so much going on in the background, and Danielle is doing all kinds of things, but she needs your help too. She needs you guys to hire her to do some stuff. She's been working for us basically for free for 6 months because she's so passionate about what we're doing. You did, Tamisa. Thank you very much for that. Michael, I know you've all hired her for a little bit of stuff. Just, you know what? Send her a message. Love on her. Tell her, you know what? We were just on a call with Cami, and I just want you to know how much you mean to us on this team. We know you're grunting it out just like we are, and we just want you to know we just really appreciate you. Because a little acknowledgement goes a long way, and I love her, and I love y'all, and I want us all to be super successful, and we are. Wait till you see what we're doing with the Chesapeake Conservancy and all these other places. All right, I got to bang out. Bye.
Bye.
everybody.